But, then we get more of the Legends panel, which is going to be coming up next. And then Cole actually does hype up that WWE voting will begin at the end of the Legends panel. And then we see John Cena backstage with Renee Young. So it's all coming together. And then Byron Saxton is in the ring for the Royal Rumble Legends panel. And then, you know what? Like, again, I have to give credit to this Raw because you see that, and I'm speaking for myself here, Ashley. I never want to speak for you, obviously.
Hang on a sec. Can I ask a question?
Of course you can.
Are we meant to believe that John Cena spent all 40 minutes between the end of his segment and him being seen here with Renee Young just chilling out right there backstage waiting for the results to come in?
I mean, I don't know, man. John Cena, I mean, you can only shill a towel for so long before it starts to be a little bit of exhausting work. But
I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure that the amount of effort that goes into him holding that towel up, divided by the amount of money that he makes from doing it, is a quotient that makes it worth it.
Waterfall pool. That's my response.
Exactly. Waterfall pool and buying your girlfriend, who you've only been with for a year and a half, a freaking car for her birthday.
Yeah, which apparently doesn't really help much because she did get a little bit flirtatious, but I'll get to that a little bit later. But yeah, what I was getting ready to say, Ashton, was I got to give credit to WWE again because, and obviously I never want to speak for you or anybody for that matter, but for me, you see a segment on paper that's just described as Legends panel, and you kind of groan a little bit because you think, oh God, how much network promotion, how much this, how much that. This was actually
there was less network promotion in this than there was in the NWO segment.
I know, right? But this was actually really fun. Dare I say, it may have been like segment of the night if it wasn't for that whole opener that we got and the ending. So it had a lot of competition, which I think says a lot about this Raw. But I think on any other like crappy Raw,
you know what's really funny is I was just about to say, I wonder if this segment was at halftime, but there's no Monday Night Football anymore.
But yeah, you definitely have to figure that if this is any other like run-of-the-mill show, that a segment like this definitely would have been the high point because this was terrific.
Right.
So yeah, Byron Saxton's in the ring. He introduces all three guys. Each gets a nice, sizable pop.
I have a question. When did Byron Saxton get back into WWE's good graces?
I don't know, but I gotta say he really he earned his keep with this segment because I actually liked how he was here.
I love how direct he was.
Yeah, really, he got straight to the point. Didn't try and mince words. First and foremost, he poses the question, the WWE app vote, guys. John Cena putting his title shot on the line. How do you guys feel about that? Yes or no? Yay or nay?
And of course, Shawn Michaels had just come out, and he did his whole entrance where he does the dancing around the top, and then he gets down on his knees and raises his arms and gets the pyro, and then he just kind of bounces around on his way back to the ring. And he was expected to answer first. Which isn't a good thing because, he's 49 years old. He's not exactly a spring chicken anymore, and he was just dancing his way to the ring, and now he has to talk on a microphone, and he sells it too. And then he takes this big pause. He's like, yes.
Yeah. The build-up is so real. The build-up for his answer.
Talk about anticipation.
Yeah, I know. I know, right? I mean, I gotta say, before this go-home show, the build-up to Shawn's response was better than the build-up to the Rumble. Because, he's just, like, doing the breaths, and then yes, and it's great.
And then he's like, Ric Flair, what do you think? And he just says, no.
Yeah, Ric Flair very succinct, just says, no, and being the heel.
And then Hulk Hogan, and he goes, absolutely yes, brother.
Yeah, because this ain't no Bash at the Beach and no heel turn going on here. So, Hogan says...
How great would that be, though?
Yeah, I know, right? Be like, no, John Cena sucks! Yeah, Hulk, welcome home! But
No, the real heel turn would have been, yeah, I don't think he deserves that title shot, brother.
But we move on from that, and then Saxon, he talks about each guy's particular Rumble memories. He says Shawn, or actually no, he starts with Flair and the '92 Rumble, and Flair talks about it was an emotional time for him because he was in a crowded class that year with a lot of great guys, including
the Macho Man.
Yeah, exactly, and he does mention Macho Man, the first 2015 Hall of Fame inductee, and Flair I think gets a little emotional here. He says he's come home. He does an oh yeah impression. Which, everybody's got one. Dig it! Yeah, I know, right? And, So Flair really put Macho Man over, which I thought was really cool. I think these guys were really enjoying themselves, which was genuinely nice to see. And he says, there's nothing like winning the Rumble, and it was definitely one of the greatest highlights of my career. And then Saxon talks to, Shawn Michaels, says, you came in at number one. Everybody remembers the one foot on the floor, the other foot dangling. What did that all mean to you? It was such a, momentous moment in the WWE and in the history of the Rumble. And Shawn does the best job here, Ashton.
Yeah, he sells the crap out of it, man. He makes the Royal Rumble seem more important with one or two statements than the WWE has managed to make it feel in like 5 or 6 years.
I know. Because he says, for every young man, hell, for every superstar, in general, that there is nothing like the Rumble, because it's just the launching pad to greater things. And perhaps
there would be no Mr. WrestleMania without the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say, that's the best statement Shawn comes out with it, because that says everything you need to know. Great promotion by Michaels. Saxon goes on to say, Hogan, you're one of the superstars who helped elevate the Rumble to what it is today, and asked him about Rumble memories.
And he continued to elevate the Rumble here, brother, because even though he's never won one, he still sold the crap out of it.
Yeah, he says the competition is always tough. He says in a match like that, you've got to keep your eyes not only on the competition in the ring, but the competition that's just to come, out of it, down the ramp. And, really, with that line, he pretty much just sold what the Rumble is. And I loved it. Him and Michaels working in tandem. Not to say that what Flair said was bad or anything, but Michaels and Hogan especially, I think, really sold what the Rumble is and what it's all about, which is fantastic.
Yep.
Then we get to the most interesting question. Saxon says, who do you guys think is going to win the Rumble? And
you know what, dude? This was amazing, but I wish there would have been more guys there to do it. Like, I want to know who Hall and Nash and Waltman and Jesse James and Billy Gunn and, JBL and Ron Simmons and all these guys. I want to know who they would all pick to be the Rumble winner this year. And I want to know who gets the most votes.
Yeah. I mean, you could have even done a nice little, video package sit-down thing. You've got all these legends together. And
tape one long video package and just show, 2 or 3 guys every 45 minutes.
Dude, how great would that have been for Rumble Build? Oh, my God. I love your creative processes, and I hate them at the same time because they're here and not where they should be on TV. God, it's so I know.
Nelson. Oh, I brought it back to wrestling.
He was poor on that show. But,
wait, no, I'm not thinking Nelson, am I? Who was the bully kid?
Yeah, you were right, Nelson. You got it right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, for what it's worth, I think I've only ever seen 3 full episodes of The Simpsons in my entire life.
I know. Most people probably wish that that's all they've ever seen with what they're producing lately. But anyway,
shots.
I know, right? We go to Shawn Michaels. Saxon says, who do you think is going to win? And I love what he says here, because he says, he's going with Bray Wyatt. He says he's going to win this year. And here's the line that really sold me, oh my God, Shawn, I love you all over again. He says, Wyatt may be whacked out there, but he's very talented and has the focus that can take him the distance. And I love that, Ashton, because the Rumble match, more than any other match throughout the calendar year of WWE, is all about that longevity and that resilience. How long can you last? And to say that a guy like Bray Wyatt, and the funny thing is, Bray is a bigger dude. He's no cruiserweight, he's nothing like that. But to say, for Shawn to say that he feels like Bray has it in him and his build and everything else to go the distance and win, I think was really cool. Yeah. But I was apparently...
Yeah, I mean, as great as HBK might have been, to me, Hogan stole the show here, because he was just talking about Bray Wyatt's not going to win, brother. And then HBK was just like, you know what? This is the second time this has happened. You're always pushing me. You're always needling me. And they're both standing up at this point. And HBK's just like, you want to do this SummerSlam 2005 all over again? And Hogan's just like this long pause. And then he goes, you don't want any of this, brother. And then HBK's just like, okay, yeah, you're right. He sits down.
And normally I would have called Hogan and I've been like, wow, way to be a complete douche there, Hulkster. But his timing was so perfect that I couldn't help but die laughing. Just like, you don't want none of this. You know it.
And then Hogan goes and literally in one fell swoop goes from one of the most hated men in all of the IWC to the IWC's fairy princess, because he says Daniel Bryan's going to win this year's Rumble, brother.
And that's when everybody, goes from, Macho Man and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat stealing the show at WrestleMania 3 to being like, no, it's all about that Hogan-Andre match, brother.
I know, right? Such a great way to put it.
But yeah, and he puts Bryan over.
This is when everyone goes from, God, Hulk Hogan's so out of touch, he's so terrible, he's such a horrible human being, to, man, this Hulk Hogan guy really gets it.
I know, right? He's so in tune with the business, so much more so than Vince. Why isn't he running things? But then they go from that, and then, because you think, well, Hogan's just running away with it. But then we probably get a tug of war, like, ooh, he really gets it too. I never knew.
I know, Ric Flair was Daniel Bryan before Daniel Bryan was a thing. Ric Flair was stealing shows and putting on 60-minute Iron Man matches and winning the hearts of hardcore wrestling fans before it was a cool thing to do.
Dude, with how much Ric Flair would have to struggle and overcome the odds. I mean, for God's sakes, the man had color matches and would bleed in matches and matches that probably said explicitly no blood. Because, that's how often he just loved to, fight out from underneath.
Ric Flair was a guy who would travel from territory to territory, and no matter where he went, no matter who he had to go up against, he would put on amazing matches, and he would always make the guy that he's going against look great. And the amazing thing about that is that the guy that he picked, Dean Ambrose, is cut in that exact same mold.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I really got tonight, as if I haven't really gotten it before, but it really clicked for me, with Ambrose tonight, because we'll get to him a little bit later, because he's just so good. I mean, dare I say, he's definitely a throwback to those great legends.
Yeah, I mean, when Dean, there was a shoot interview, and I hate to call him that, but that's probably what it was labeled, so it's stuck in my head. But he had an interview where he was talking about the way that he broke into the wrestling business, and I think he was 16, or it was either 16 or 18, because I don't remember if this was the first time that he tried to get into the business, or it was the first time that he actually got into a wrestling school. And his teacher, I guess mentor, whatever you want to call it, had the guys line up, and he was in the line, and he had one of them shut their eyes, and he beat the living crap out of that guy. And then he told the guy to open his eyes, and he asked him if he felt anything, and he said no, because he didn't lay a single finger on him, even though he convincingly beat the crap out of him. And that's the school from which Dean Ambrose comes from, and that's one of the main reasons why he's so incredibly safe to work with in the ring, because he's got that old school mentality of, you don't need to beat the crap out of each other in order to make money. You can just be really, really good at looking like you are without actually doing it. And that to me, that is why I hesitate to call ROH my favorite wrestling promotion, because they legitimately beat the crap out of each other, and they don't make any more money than the next guy who's just really good at looking like they are, even though they're not.
That was a great story, dude. I'm really glad you told us all that, because then it really clicks for me why you're just so into Ambrose, and Ambrose is your guy right now, because he's just so nuanced that way.
Yeah.
And I think people would probably be knocking down his locker room door to work with him, not only because of the status he currently has as a babyface, but just the idea that it would seem like easy money when you know you're not going to get hurt and you're going to put on a quality match to boot.
Well, and really, I mean, the only other guys really right now that are kind of in that same class where they can work with you, they can make you look good, they can be safe but still put on a compelling match it's him, Randy Orton, and when he decides to get in the ring, Triple H.
Right.
Absolutely. But mostly it's Ambrose and Orton.